So here we are continuing with the previous lesson. So the first thing here we have is the price mechanism. What is a price mechanism, Ava?
Price mechanism is basically the way that the resources are allocated in a market economy, even mixed
Mm-hmm.
economy. It's basically according to the market forces of demand and supply. So it's like if there's higher demand for a particular good, the suppliers will get like kind of a signal, and then they're going to
Mm-hmm.
start to produce that good more, supply
Mm-hmm.
that good more, stuff like that. Basically, just depends on what the consumers want, their demand, and then according to that, they're going to supply.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So these are basically the price changes which are determined by the interaction of market forces, which are obviously demand and supply. Very right. Now, how does it work? That if there is an increase in demand, there will be an increase in price.
Yeah,
And this price will be a signal for the producer.
increase supply, right?
Yes. So producers shifting to products in demand. Let's say, can you give me a real world example for this?
Um. Okay. Yeah. Right now, it's like I feel like now because in UAE there's like it's winter. Actually, even the whole world is the season is winter right now. So I feel like if there's any like retail shop for like clothes, I think they will start because there's an increase in demand for like sweaters and hoodies and stuff. So
Mhm.
for that, they'll increase the price because there's higher demand, and then the producers are gonna start to produce like hoodies and sweaters more than like t-shirts and maybe like what else is there? Thin clothing, like basically anything that's like thin, like just t-shirts and then
Mm,
like thin hoodies and stuff. Then
mm.
the demand for that's gonna be a bit low because for this particular season. So the producers can like kind of decrease its supply and focus their resources like more on winter clothing.
Okay, if we consider um, when COVID hit,
Yeah,
so in COVID, the demand for the sanitizers and masks increased,
yeah, a lot.
due to which there was, an increase in the price.
Yeah.
And I actually witnessed many of the people who were producing something else started producing masks and sanitizers because they were in demand,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So this could also be considered as one of the examples. Existing product which was already there in the market
Yeah.
but was not demanded much, but suddenly its demand went up and everybody started buying it.
Yes.
Then decrease in demand.
The decrease in price.
Yes. And now the producer is shifting away
Yeah, they'll
from
shift.
the products not in demand, right?
Yeah.
Not in demand. Right.
Yes, sir.
Now we are going to talk about the functions of price mechanism. So the first function that we have is the signaling and transmission of preferences. So price is basically acting as a signal for producer and consumer.
Yeah.
So it's not only for the producer but for the consumer as well.
Yeah, if they want to purchase more or if they should shift to a cheaper product, basically.
Exactly. Now the incentive.
It can be an
Obviously,
incentive for
yes, yes. Go on.
increasing profit, right? For producers. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, this is basically a
So if
possible.
the price is higher, so it is more of an incentive for producer or consumer.
Yeah,
The producer, right? If the price is higher,
yeah,
so incentive is producer.
yeah.
Low price.
Is incentive to consumer.
Then we talk about rationing.
Oh yeah, rationing. I'm not really sure what it is, but I read about it somewhere that it's like if there's a product that is like in really high demand, it's automatically going to have like kind of a low supply. So, but I think the government does, no, not the government. Who, I forgot who does the rationing, but I think it's the producers.
Private producers.
Yeah, they basically will increase the prices like a lot. So they will kind of limit the supply and then like increase the prices for I think people who can afford it.
Exactly. So,
Yeah,
and sometimes it is also because the resources are scarce to produce the goods. So you can't produce it in abundant supply. There can't be an abundant supply for
yeah,
this. So that's why the firms increase the price to basically eliminate the excess demand in the market
okay,
because they can't, but again, the point is that the private producer is not that good.
yeah,
The private producer will also be doing it even when they can supply it well,
exactly,
but they are going to do it so that they can charge a higher price and get more profits.
exactly.
Right. You can write this part down and then we'll move forward.
You're done, sir.
Okay, great. Now, moving forward to the next part. Alternative demand. What is it?
Alternative demand. I think this is talking about substitutes, right? That if, for example, the price of one gets high and increases, there's an
Mhm.
alternative demand. So one's demand goes low, the other's demand will go high, depending on the prices.
Exactly. Right. So alternative demand is due to a fall in supply, rise in price of one product, increases demand for another. So a product which is having a limited supply,
Yeah,
so you can shift to another substitute in that case.
yeah.
Case of substitutes. Joint demand.
Joint demand is basically what we see in complements, right? It's like, for example, if the price of one good is going to fall, the demand for the other good is going to increase. It's basically a negative relationship, yeah, between the both. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
it's basically like if I have to.
Negative relationship. Yes, you're right. Negative relationship.
Okay, it's basically like if I have to say through an example, it's like again the same example with popcorn and cinema tickets. It's like if cinema tickets are going to the price is going to fall, the demand for popcorn is going to increase. It's basically joint demand. Demand
But
increasing.
just keep that in mind that this is because of a rising supply.
Yeah,
Because in the same way, when there was a fall in supply, so
yeah,
there was an alternative demand which came up.
yeah.
So here we have due to a rise in supply, and the example is perfectly fine about the cinema tickets and the popcorns. Fall in price of one product. When are you going to get your result?
The result, I don't really know. We usually get it like after the December holidays end, but I'll try to get it from him before because he said that he's already checking the papers. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll ask
Mhm.
him if he can give mine before school ends.
Right. Now derived demand. What's that?
Okay, derived demand, I'm not that sure, but if I read it somewhere that it's like, um, okay, I can't really, I don't know definition, but I feel like I can give an example. It's like if you have lemons and if you have lemon juice, if the demand for lemons become high, then the demands for lemon juice is going to be high because you can't produce lemon juice without lemons. I'm not sure that's right, but like because the it basically means that the demand for one product is being derived from another. So I feel like the demand for lemon juice in
L-
this case is being derived from an increase in demand of lemons.
No, but don't you think it is the other way around that if there is a high demand for the lemon juices, which is why the demand for the lemons is going to increase because you
Oh
have to
yeah,
produce the juice out of it, no?
yeah. That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? So this
Yeah.
could be about the derived demand. So it is a situation where demand of or demand for a product is based on the demand for Another product. Okay. Now, is it, how do we apply it to a service
Okay, a service.
in terms of an example, if you could explain?
Okay, so that would basically mean that uh, the demand for a service is based on the demand for another service.
Mm.
Um, okay. If the demand for example, like people who no, this is about people, right? Okay, if the demand for people who like do like window cleaning increases,
Mhm,
um,
mhm.
how would that increase on demand for another service?
Yeah, that is the point. That
Um,
is the point, no?
if like I'm not sure about this one, but it's like if the demand for example, like dropping children like from school to their houses like increases, then wouldn't the demand for the bus driver providing his skill that's what a service though.
But that is too direct.
Yeah. Um
Okay, if I say, I'll give you an example, then you might think and give me another example. If there is an increase in demand for hotel services,
yeah,
the demand for hotel workers
yeah, it's an increase.
will rise, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Now give me another example.
okay. If there's maybe I'm not sure about this, but it's like if, for example, like because now I'm like seeing it more and more like food retail shops that it's like, for example, McDonald's, if you go now, there's like this thing where you can kind of order yourself. You don't have to go to like like a human doesn't need to take your order. It's kind of a machine can give you order in it. So like
Hmm.
if there's an increase in demand, for example, like the for any fast food, wouldn't the demand for those machines increase as well? Like,
Yes, it will.
yeah, because you don't really need even workers for that. It's just that machine.
Exactly. Exactly. So you will need to have more of such machines so that
Yeah.
the demand can be fulfilled more quickly. Now the joint supply. What is the joint supply?
Joint supply. It's like when producers are producing this one product. It's like, for example, I read this somewhere that if they're producing wheat, was it wheat or something like that? Was like if they're producing wheat, it's like they can use wheat to produce two like other products like in the future. Like for example, if
Hmm.
for food,
There are many products like that.
Yeah, there's a
where
lot. But
from one product you're producing more products.
yeah. Um, Maybe if you usually for joint supply, I see like food as a example. Sometimes think of uh, yeah, okay. If a producer is producing wheat, I feel like from that they can produce rice and bread, right?
Hmm.
So doesn't that make it joint supply because they'll be supplied together basically because the raw material is being supplied, which will in the future be able to produce more products. With
Hmm.
it's the same basically raw material that's needed for both of them. So isn't that joint supply?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Same with the crude oil as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Crude oil. Crude oil.
So it is used in many of the for the jet fuels,
Yeah,
sometimes for the as a gasoline,
exactly. Yeah,
right? So then the cotton, from cotton you make a lot of products. Then with the cows,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
use cows for milk,
For
for
meat.
meat, and then for wool. Let's
Exactly.
say if you have sheep. So joint supply is two goods produced together, but for different
Purposes.
purposes. And we have the example here. Let's say we can also talk about, there's one example of soya bean as well that is processed for human consumption
Yeah.
and also used in animal feed.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So this is it about this topic. We are done with this chapter. You can write this part down and then we'll move forward to the new one.
Okay, I'm done soon.
Okay. Now moving forward to the new chapter.
Yeah.
This is consumer and producer surplus.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the topic. Okay. First off, what is a consumer surplus?
Okay. So consumer surplus is basically the difference between the price that a consumer is willing to pay and the price which they actually have to pay.
Exactly. So it's the Highest price consumer willing to pay for a product minus the actual price consumer paid. So this is because some people may be willing,
To pay like higher prices, but some will be willing to pay lower prices.
yes, to pay any price. What could be the example?
If I had to give an example, I think it just depends on income. Like for example, some people are going to be willing to buy like maybe like a really expensive bag, for example. Some people are going to be willing to buy that bag, but some people who are lower incomes will not be willing.
Hmm. This is, you know, you have to, in order to give a good example, you have to consider why a consumer, why some of the consumers out of the total number of consumers will be willing to pay a higher price. Why would they do it?
I feel like it depends on their income as well as their maybe the like
Even after the income, they might not be willing to spend too much.
maybe the expectations in the future, like if they know that the prices are gonna rise, maybe they'll save. And
But I'm talking about those who are paying more.
okay, the people who are paying more, okay. Maybe there's not many substitutes for that product.
But then everybody would be paying more
Okay, yeah, that's true.
because people are
Um,
paying less than what they are paying. So those who are paying more, why they are paying more?
um, okay. So maybe I'm not
Maybe
sure.
they are brand conscious.
Oh yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, brand conscious. Yeah, brand loyalty. That's what I was about to say.
Maybe they have the passion towards something like
Yeah,
attending a concert at a very high price just because you like the singer.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense.
Maybe because it's a Cricket World Cup final match ticket,
Yeah,
and you are that one crazy fan who want to experience it, no
yeah,
matter what's the prices,
yeah.
right? So the passion can also lead you to do this.
Exactly.
So Cricket World Cup final match ticket could be one. So if I consider the diagram, how will it look like?
Consumer surplus is basically if you draw like the demand curve and the supply curve, it's like the
And
consumer.
the supply curve. Okay, I should make both. If I only make demand curve, can we show the consumer surplus by that?
I mean, yeah, you can, because the consumer surplus is the area under the demand curve and above the price.
Hmm.
You
Very
can,
good.
yeah.
This was rightly said exactly like that, that it is under the demand curve but higher than the
Right.
market price which people are willing to pay, let's say. Let's say this is the market price.
So that whole area is the consumer surplus.
Exactly. So it just this. What is the problem? Okay, I got that. Okay, so basically this area that you are dealing with, this is the area of the consumer surplus, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
This is consumer surplus. So let's just talk a little bit about this here as well. So people are willing to pay till P1,
Yeah, but they have to pay only P.
yes, any price they pay below P1 is consumer surplus, but till the actual price, because you can't go below that.
Yeah.
You will not be able to buy there till P naught. So increase in, if I write this, that increase in actual price.
Will reduce consumer surplus, right?
Yes, very good. So you have done this topic well in class then,
Yes, sir.
or you have understood it on your own.
Yeah, on my own.
So this is the consumer surplus here. You can make the diagram. Always just keep one thing in mind, that is the perfection of your graphs.
Yes, sir.
Done with this?
Yes, sir.
So your graphs should always be very neat and tidy, and all the things must be labeled. So the producer surplus, what about it?
Basically, the producer surplus is the difference in the price that the producers are willing to supply at, and the price which they actually need to supply at, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the price that they're willing to supply at, and then the price that they actually have to supply, like at the market price, basically.
Hmm. Highest, and this is opposite here. The highest actual price firms receive for selling a product minus the lowest price
That they receive, right?
they were willing to sell product at.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
It
Makes
is the
sense.
highest actual price at which they sold the product. And then
Okay.
deducting with that is the selling a product at a lowest price that they were willing to sell the product at, not
Okay.
actually sold at.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's why I'm saying that this is opposite here. Here, what we are doing is that here the highest price the consumer willing to pay minus the actual price. Here, the actual price minus the the lowest price the producer is willing to sell at.
Okay. Makes sense.
They were willing to sell product at. So here, the diagram will look like this.
Yeah. This one I don't really remember that well, but I think it was the area above the supply curve and under the price.
Here and here. And this point is basically showing the market price at which they are selling
Yeah, that's like the actual price. Yeah.
and the lowest price that they are happy to sell at. So that gap, if they are above the lowest price, anywhere above the lowest price, it is fine for
Yeah,
them,
exactly.
right? So this area, which is, I thought I was only bad in drawing. I'm also bad in coloring.
So it's fine. Actually, it's very neat. It's fine.
Okay. So this is producer surplus. So when you okay, first thing is that first we make a little bit of explanation of this as well here.
Yeah.
So firms are willing to receive
P1 into P1.
till P1.
Yeah.
Just give me a minute.
Yes, sir.
Hello. 1 minute. Okay, so P1 is firms are willing to receive till P1 any price they receive below, sorry, above. Why below? Above P1
Yeah.
is producer
Surplus.
surplus till
Till, yeah, PZ. P-
the actual price P naught.
Yeah, because they can't charge higher than that.
Yes, because then the consumers are not going to buy. So
Yeah.
basically, when you talk about the consumer surplus and the producer surplus, so consumer surplus is highest P
Yeah.
minus the market P.
Yeah.
And here it is opposite. It is the market P
Minus the highest P.
minus highest P, right?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, why I'm saying highest P? P is P1 is lowest, no? So
Oh yeah, yeah,
lowest
yeah.
P.
That's the lowest price they're willing to accept.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a bit confusing, but we have to, cater to this. So highest P
Yeah,
minus the market P
yeah,
and market P minus the lowest P.
yeah.
So in consumer surplus, the lowest price is the market price.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in producer surplus, the highest price is the market
Market
price,
price.
right?
Yes, sir.
You can make this and then we'll move forward.
So is it all right if I take 10 minutes to pray?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay, so you're done with this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now let's just move to the causes and changes in the consumer and producer surplus. So first, We're going to talk about a change here.
Yeah.
On one side, we have the consumer surplus, and the other side, we have the producer surplus. This is D naught, and this is S. Okay, so we have the P1, and here again the P1. Now, if the original market price was somewhere here, original market price,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
This is showing the original market price. And here again, this is showing the, okay, I'll make it a bit higher. This was the original market price,
Yes.
original market price, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is also P naught and Q naught. And this is P naught and Q naught.
Yeah.
Now, if the price increases in the consumer surplus,
Yeah. Okay.
so
If it
the,
is in consumer surplus is going to decrease, but producer surplus is
yes,
going to increase.
yeah, if there is a price increase.
Yeah.
Here, I'm talking about a price increase, P naught dash
Yeah.
with Q naught dash. And this is the new market price, right?
Yes, sir.
And if in the producer surplus part, the other part,
Yeah.
probably the price is decreasing.
Yeah. So the producer surplus is going to decrease.
Yes, because I want to show that the producer surplus is decreasing overall. Sorry, I want to not only show that the producer surplus is decreasing, but with the both the graphs, I'm showing that consumer and producer surplus can decrease.
Yeah.
This is Q naught dash. Okay. Now, if I mark this area as So if I say that this is showing, how will I say? Okay. This is showing reduction in
Consumer surplus.
consumer surplus. And here I'm showing the same thing.
Yeah, it's reduction in producer surplus.
Here I am showing it. Okay, I'll make it here. Reduction in producer surplus. Right?
Yes, sir.
And now I'm going to mark the area of,
The new consumer and producer surplus.
yes. This is the area which is showing
The consumer surplus.
the consumer surplus, and I'm going to mark it as this.
Yeah,
And on the other side, this area that I have is the producer surplus. This is the reduced producer surplus.
yeah,
So now, if there wasn't a decrease in the price, so producer surplus would have been obviously more.
exactly. Yeah.
So I am going to like that. Oh, what is this? Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So easy to understand, or is it messy a bit?
No, 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 sir. It's really very neat. It's fine.
Okay. So if there was nothing happening, so
Yes, sir.
you should know that this area would also have been in the
Producer
producer
surplus.
surplus,
Yeah,
but it is not,
exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
And the same way, if there wasn't an increase in the price, so this area would also have been the part of producer, sorry,
And
the consumer surplus, which
yeah.
is not right now because the price has increased in the consumer surplus. And I'm going to, write this as well here as so that you have an idea. So I'm going to mark a line here between this. Okay. So when market price increased from P naught to P naught dash, the consumer surplus shrinked,
Yeah.
right? So the consumer surplus shrinked because of that. Okay. And when the market price reduced from P naught to P naught dash, the producer surplus
Shrink.
shrank, right? So
Yes, sir.
these explanations are always very important because these informations give clarity to your
Yes,
answer.
yes, sir.
Okay, now just doing one thing, one last thing, and that is to summarize all of what we have done here in this particular diagram. I'm going to summarize it in
Yes,
a
sir.
very easy way. So if whenever, just keep this thing in mind, that
Yes, sir.
whenever the market price increases,
Yes, sir.
right,
Yes, sir.
this will basically lead to consumer surplus to
Decrease.
decrease. Very good. Very good. And when the market price will fall,
Consumer surplus increases.
consumer surplus. So this summarizes it well, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Consumer surplus increases. In the same way, if the market price increases here,
Yeah.
what is going to happen
The
to the
consumer
producer
surplus, the
surplus?
producer surplus,
Producer.
sorry.
Hmm.
Yeah, producer surplus is going to increase.
Yes. So higher the price, higher will be the producer
Producer surplus.
surplus. And lower the price, lower will be the producer
Surplus.
surplus. So producer surplus. I hope this makes it easy for you to understand the whole concept now,
Yes, sir.
right? You
Yes,
can
sir.
write this part down.
Okay, so I'm done.
Done here.
Yeah.
We will be discussing in the next class how the price elasticity of demand and consumer surplus works, like if the
Yes, sir.
product is elastic and elastic. And in the same way for how the price elasticity of supply affects the producer surplus if the producers if it is the inelastic supply or the elastic supply,
Yes, sir.
because there is a lot of explanation and the detail regarding why it is happening that we have to discuss, because it will take some more time. So that's why I'm not doing it right now. Otherwise the graphs, it will hardly take 10 minutes, but we have to discuss the reasons behind all of this. So there is a lot of discussion there,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So we'll do that in the next class, inshallah.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you have any questions related to today's topic, you can ask me.
No, sir.
Everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so this is it for today then. Have a very nice weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Allah Hafiz.
Love is.